all, Nadine here. Um, First of all, I'd like to talk about tools, what you need to start crocheting. Um, at the very minimum, you need your crochet hook, pair of scissors, a darning needle, and and your yarn and your pattern. So whatever your pattern calls for, that's the tools you'll at the very minimum need to get. So if you have, say, worsted weight wool, like this is, generally the pattern will ask for a 5mm crochet hook, but it all depends. Or a US H, size 8. It'll all depend on what you're making. So if you're making a doll, say, you'll need, generally it'll be a 3.5 or a 4mm crochet hook, which is a US E size 4 is the 3.5mm, and the 4mm is, I'm not sure what that is in US terms. But if you're doing like amigurumi dolls, you'll want a smaller hook so you can crochet tighter. Basically, it's just so you crochet a bit tighter and don't get the holes that you would if you're using a larger hook. But generally, a worsted weight will say 5mm hook on the package, and so you just whatever it asks for, but that's what you need as a bare minimum. What comes in handy though is something to be as a stitch marker. So you can buy stitch markers, plastic stitch markers that are quite handy, like this. Or if you're like me, living in a spot that is really difficult to get stuff shipped to and just hard to get stuff, you can do like I did with a paperclip and just bend up one arm, and I use that as my stitch marker. Or you can go with making something kind of fancy out of a lever back ear hook. This is a little piggy I made from glass. It was lampwork little piggy I made from glass, and just attached a lever back ear hook, and that can also be used as a stitch marker. What you also would be optional is a measuring something. So a tape measure or whatever, it's good for measuring gauges. Really, if you're doing, say, amigurumi dolls, you don't really need to worry about gauge so much. But if you're doing an article of clothing, gauge is fairly important, and the worst trouble I have is getting a gauge right. That's why I mostly make blankets, where really gauge doesn't matter as long as you're consistent, or scarves and things like that. As long as you're consistent, it's not a big deal. Also a pincushion. That's just a little egg-shaped pincushion I made. And a blocking board, something to block with. A ironing board would work, but I use one of those anti-fatigue mats. I got them on sale one time. It was four and a thing for like $10, and they're kind of linked together. So works really well, especially if you want something, if you're making like a large blanket and the squares are large. You can block it out, and it looks very nice when you're finished with it. But like I said, that's all optional. Just to get started, the very minimum you need to get started is just these couple of things. And it can all be gotten for, you want a sharp pair of scissors with a fine point on the end, and the darning needle and a crochet hook, whatever the pattern calls for. So I hope you have found this helpful. Please feel free to click subscribe. There should be a link right here. Check out one of my other videos. It should be right there. And smash that like button down there. And if you have any questions, you can just put a comment in, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And otherwise, let me know what you're working on, and that would be fun to know what everybody's working on. Thank you, and you have a wonderful day.